Now, am I bullish on crypto? Not yet.
But how do you know where the bottom is and where the top is? Because, the Warren Buffetts of the world or the great investors of all time will say, just stay for the long game. You can't time the market. It's not about timing the market. It's about time in the market. Don't day trade, decade trade. So how do you figure that out?
He's not in the same market I'm in.
In this video, Richard Hart is not bullish on crypto yet. They state that HEX can experience a downturn like Bitcoin did, and it was bad timing that it appeared correlated. They caution that they don't have a crystal ball and that this is not financial advice. They note that the grayscale Bitcoin is at a 33% discount and may be affected by several factors, such as the Ethereum merge, the dumping of Mt. Gox, Bitfinex, and Ross Ulbricht's coins, and a potential cycle dump. They predict that the next cycle will be hilarious with Pulse Chain, but advise caution when dealing with sanctions.
Now, am I bullish on crypto? Not yet. Now remember, HEX ran up 60x versus Bitcoin the first time it dumped from 65K down 55%. So HEX can totally decorrelate from Bitcoin. I think it was kind of bad timing that it looks correlated now because we had our own cycles, right? There were sacrifice phases. There was other things going on in our own cycles. And so I wouldn't be surprised if some point HEX started doing the same things it used to do, which is just overperforming like crazy. We'll see. I don't have a crystal ball. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, do your own research, etc. But even recently when you saw Bitcoin like break under 20K, which people are really hoping for, they don't like seeing Bitcoin under 20K. And then if you're a technical analyst, there's some things that say like support becomes resistance. And so, what used to be resistance is support in theory, old 20K top, now 20K quote bottom, but actually didn't hold a 20K bottom at all. Didn't respect that at all. Went down to 17.5, is now sitting at, it was interesting. I saw the Euro and Bitcoin and the S&P 500 all pumped today. I was like, oh, I wonder if they're correlated. So yeah, I think as long as grayscale Bitcoin's at a 33% discount, which it is, and they hold 1% of all Bitcoin, and, the Ethereum merge might be a buy the rumor, sell the news event. I mean, we see lending people that are borrowing Ethereum for the merge. They're paying like 15% APY to do it. And so, there's some people interested in playing this merge game. And I think traditionally in crypto, buy the rumor, sell the new stuff is pretty common, And so with the risk that Bitcoin dumps due to either just not doing its 85% dump yet, which would put it at, a little bit under 11K, and the 33% discount on grayscale BTC, which has been consistent. I mean, it's been there for months. And the Mt. Gox coins being released at some point. Those guys suck so bad. Just give us a date, guys. Just give us a date. Let's go. Stop screwing around, The comedy, that whole thing. And then we've got the Bitfinex coins they're trying to sell, which I think is like 94,000 coins or 84,000 coins or something. And then we've got Ross Ulbricht's coins, which I think is like 70,000 coins, somewhere between 54 and 74,000. Can't remember the exact number. I tweeted all these, so you can look these up. So we've got discounted grayscale Bitcoin, which is 1% of all Bitcoin. We've got Mt. Gox, Bitfinex, and the federal marshal's probably selling Ross Ulbricht's coins because he signed off to let them do it to pay his restitution. And then normal cycle dump, right? And then maybe buy the rumor, sell the news for merge. So in my mind, it's the dream bottom would be the grayscale discount goes away. Some of those free coins that are going to get released by law, like the Japanese ones at Mt. Gox, or going to get dumped as a matter of law, which would be the Ulbricht ones of Silk Road fame. And then it's up in the air whether the Bitfinex ones will really get sold or not. They might get refunded or they might get sold. Who knows? And I think there was 94,000 coins there. You could look it up. So the dream would be those coins get dumped. Bitcoin's deficit to net asset value and grayscale disappears. And then it does its traditional 11K and pray 85% dump that's been a nice bottom. And then if they raised interest rates, oh boy, that'd be nice too. Because as long as they keep doing quantitative tightening, QT, it pushes down the stock market pushes down Bitcoin pushes down Ethereum. That's how it goes. And then I like this next cycle is going to be hilarious because with Pulse Chain, like look at the situation Bitcoin's in. Is there DeFi in Bitcoin? Comedically, no. Is there high throughput? Is there low fees? Is there a roadmap? Nope. Is there good anonymity? Nope. Now I was just talking to a lawyer today about the Tornado Cash situation. And this, I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. But he says that, the sanction just addressed USDC, which means it could be the case that you can still use Tornado Cash using the ETH address. And as long as you're using IPFS to access the contract, it seems like it should be okay. But if you mess this up, it's devastating. Don't mess it up. Be very careful. Get your own legal advice. Of the many things in this world that you want to toy with, sanctions are not one of them. The government takes them very, very seriously. So I would get legal advice from a lawyer before I did anything related to sanctions. So yeah, bear markets don't last forever, right? So if our top was, let's check the chart here. Check the chat. So if we call the most recent local top, get on the daily here, in Bitcoin, if we call that November of 2021, and a year out would be, that's November 11th of November 10th of 2021. That's 2 months from now. So if the bear market's only going to last 365 days, that's only 2 months and 4 days from now. Could happen, right? We could dump, make that firm bottom. And everyone else is thinking about this bear market. I'm thinking about the next bull market. As soon as we've got this consensus figured out, and I think we've got a good plan, as soon as this consensus is like executed and fixed on Pulse Chain, it's going to be glorious. Imagine imagine all these new people that get to buy a massive dip. So when I got into crypto, I didn't get to buy a massive dip. I got to buy the top. So I bought Bitcoin at 30 and it went down to 2. I was down 93.5% to start. It was like, oh, well, this sucks. Then you just hold. Then it goes up to 1,200, and then it goes down to 200, and then it goes up to 20,000, then it goes down to 3, and then it goes up to 14, then it goes to 4, and then it goes to 69, and then it goes to 17. That's the history. So being able to have so many people, like perhaps the people at this conference, buying at rates that are 10 times cheaper, like for instance Hex dipped 95%. Well, golly, that's a good dip. I mean, you could get, if you buy 95% dip, you're getting 20 times the stuff for the same economic energy that a person that had bought previously did. So in theory, that greatly reduces your risk because you're getting so much more stuff. I don't know why in crypto everyone loves to buy tops and sell bottoms, but if you have the opportunity to buy bottoms, like some people bought the big payday dip, well, that was glorious. They did very well on that. Some people bought that $2 dip. I didn't. I just held. But had I been a lot smarter, buying a 90% dip on something that went up another 20,000 fold, yeah, actually went up another 34,500 fold from $2. So it's a lot. It's a lot of extra movement. 34,500x from the bottom of the dip. That was my introduction to Bitcoin.
Point. I remember Robert Kiyosaki said the same thing. He said, basically, you could be smart as hell, but if you don't have a team behind you, then what's the point?
Yeah. I made an analogy that I like. Yeah. So basically like a car. Okay, you got a car, you put 1,000 horsepower in it. Mm-hmm. That's nice. Now you're just going to sit and spin the wheels. You got traction. Okay, now you got traction, you got horsepower. That's cool. Your steering wheel pointed the right direction, or you driving the wrong way. And the longer you drive the wrong way, the longer it takes to get back. So in life, you got tactics and you got strategy. Tactics, you could do the wrong thing the right way and look like you killing it. Like you're doing cleaning people's houses, you clean a house faster. You can get 10% more houses done in a day. Congrats. But you still have to work hourly to make your money.
Yeah.
So that's a good tactic for the wrong strategy. The right strategy is when you go to sleep, your money's making money. You got real estate. It's paying you while you sleep. You got investments, stocks, bonds, crypto. It can pay you while you're sleeping. That's something that scales. You can make 100 times, 1,000 times more money the next year. If you're getting paid by the hour, you have no future financially. You will run out of hours. I don't care if you're a doctor. I don't care if you're a lawyer. I know a lot of, well, I used to back when I was doing air conditioning for my dad, know a lot of, rich doctors, lawyers. We fixed air conditioners.
Yeah.
They wished that they had owned a firm where other people was working for them so that they could take a vacation and still get paid.
Yeah.
And so even if you're the highest paid people in the world hourly, you still wish you was in business so you could take time off and your money's making money. So you want your money to earn for you. You don't want to have to be the person that carries your financial future on your own back.
Wow. Work smart, not hard.
Yeah.
Next, Richard speaks about the differences between day trading and decade trading, where the latter involves holding onto an investment for a long period of time, much like Warren Buffett. They explained that Buffett's tactic of buying something and never selling it provides a tax advantage, which can add an extra 2% return annually. However, the interviewee is critical of the stock market's performance, noting that it took 14 years to get a 2x return in the S&P 500, and suggests investing in cryptocurrency, like HEX, which has gone up 2x in a month. They also recount a personal story of being robbed of their assets while living in Panama.
But how do you know where the bottom is and where the top is? Because, the Warren Buffetts of the world or the great investors of all time will say, just stay for the long game. You can't time the market. It's not about timing the market. It's about time in the market. Don't day trade, decade trade. So how do you figure that out?
He's not in the same market I'm in. And if he was in this market, I'd smoke him. In his market, he smoked me.
Well,
so it's
fucking
like
Warren Buffett, dude.
well, here's the thing, right? Warren Buffett's tactics are to buy something and never sell it, which gives you a tax advantage. So if you're taxed at the corporate rate, I don't remember exactly what it is, but let's say it's 20%. And the return on investment in stocks, to say let's average 10%, you're making an extra 2% a year by never selling because you have extra money in the market because you weren't taxed because you didn't sell. And so if you buy a thing like Coca-Cola that tends to have product market fit, a walled garden, it's not a volatile industry, it's likely to be popular for a very long time. So he buys Gillette, he buys Coca-Cola, he buys things that have
McDonald's, Apple,
boring.
That kind of thing.
Exactly.
He's a traditionalist.
The Apple thing's new.
If there's anyone that's the exact opposite of Warren Buffett, I think it would be Richard Hart.
True. Yeah.
In terms of
But Apple wasn't even his
lifestyle-wise.
idea. It was someone else at his company that
Correct.
he has to
Either was Coca-Cola
He's
or
gonna die.
McDonald's.
He's gonna die, and then he has to hand it off to the next guy. So the next guy might as well get experience. So the issue is like, why do I care about Warren Buffett or the stock market when it only did a 2x in 14 years? You had to wait 14 years to get a 2x in the S&P 500. And this is with all-time high inflation, with 0% interest rates, with money printing out the yin-yang. You couldn't have had a better macro environment for stocks to appreciate. And so the S&P 500 in this environment where, if you adjust for inflation, it's not even that good. Like if you adjust for inflation, you didn't get a 2x. And so why would I care about 14 years wait for a 2x when I can get that in a month in crypto? Like HEX just went up 2x in the last month. So do you want to wait 14 years or do you want to wait 30 days? It's really that easy. And like all this other stuff, I don't care. Like it's
But
real.
how long ago did you start HEX?
1,000 days ago.
1,000 days ago.
Yeah.
So 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Give or take.
Yeah, 2.2.
Prior to HEX, where were you putting your money?
Well, I never talk about my money, but I can say that, I mined Bitcoin at 50 cents. I bought Bitcoin at 30. It went directly down to 2. So that was a 93.5% drop instantly. That was my, yeah. But I wish I bought more.
This was in 2010.
I wish I'd bought the dip. Imagine if I bought the dip. That'd be much nicer, right? Like if you just 2x your investment on a 90% dip, you 10x your stack. So you're like.
But even before Bitcoin, you must have had. If you said you were worth X amount of millions, you weren't just keeping it in cash. You had real estate, stocks, bonds, right?
I'm never gonna answer it. I'd never talk about my finances. It's all downside for me. Like it's all risk.
Talking about your finances?
Yeah, like what I have and where I've had it. And
I'm talking about 20 years ago when you retired.
Okay, let me put it this way. I went to Panama. I got the shit robbed out of me. So I went to Panama. So I retired. I moved to Panama. I got a penthouse and an office, a bunch of cars and all that stuff. And then I got the crap robbed out of me. Like everyone was working an angle on me. And so
like
there was
physically robbed, or they robbed your house?
No, all that.
Was it the people you
Everything.
knew?
I'll tell you.
It...
I'll tell you the whole
in
story.
Panama. Okay.
So if you move to the third world and you're a gringo, you are going to be victimized. And in Panama, there's 2 newspapers. There's La Prensa, which is what the tourists read, and there's La Critica, which is what the people read. And the dead bodies are shown in La Critica. And in the La Prensa, there's no dead bodies. So there's 2 different Panamas based on what news you're reading.
It's called marketing.
I guess. And so like this dude in that country, and they don't even have this anymore. Like they got rid of bearer shares globally, but they used to people just own their houses with bearer shares. And if you want to sell the house, you don't got to go through a bunch of paperwork.
Bear shares? What is that?
Bearer shares. If you bear the share, if you hold the share, it's like if you hold a dollar bill, it's your dollar bill. So bearer instruments, things that change ownership based on who possesses them, they've basically been eliminated globally. Probably for the reasons that like what happened to me. Probably. So they used to have bearer shares. Now they don't. I don't think they do. I haven't been there in decades. I'm never going back. I don't like that place.
Yeah. So what was the lesson that you learned there? You're basically saying that you're retired, you had a ton of cash, ton of assets, and they just...
He had a fake shareholder meeting where they said the shares are present. They were not. I had the real shares. They changed the ownership of the company. They changed the name of the company, directors, the ownership, which basically stole all the stuff the company's owned, right? Which is the properties and everything. So I had my house stolen, which was funny. And then like while I was gone, like my girl went back to like get some paperwork and then did a home invasion, 10 people, broad daylight. It's in the newspaper. You can go check it out. And then
while you were in the home?
No, my girl was in the home. So they tied her up, made her open up a safe, but there was nothing in the safe. They just got some Swarovski crystal. Retarded. But not fun to have 10 people knock. Like I had a security guard just from my house, extra on top of the building security. They knocked him out. Didn't kill him, just knocked him out. And like 10 dudes, 10. Like when in Florida do you get 10 dudes going to run up in a house at once? That's crazy. Like that's a lot of dudes. So
they must have known you were...
You had that money.
Well, I think so. It turns out the guy that the lawyer that I gave the real shares to cancel out what they did, he used them to cancel out what he did. He got that house back. Guess what he did with it?
What did he do?
He gave them to himself. The lawyer that I gave the shares to stole the house from the guys that originally stole it and kept it himself. And so I did some research on this lawyer. Turns out he became a lawyer in prison, which you can't even do in America. But in Panama, you can. So this guy was the leader of a Robo-Rolex gang where they would rob people with Rolexes. And he did time for it, like 5 years, 10 years, can't remember which. And then he jacked me for my stuff. And I'm just like, man, is there anyone not crooked here? Like, this is insane. So I got robbed by the criminals once, then the home invasion, who may have been tied to that dude, because he knew a lot of dirty people, you know. And they even kill witnesses too. Like, so like my dude, that I was so tired of being betrayed that I figured, all right, well, I'll hire like somebody that's unlikely to screw me. So one of the applicants for the job was like a male nurse. I'm like, oh, that guy's probably not going to screw me.
Merce.
Yeah, he takes care of people for a living. He's probably not going to screw me. Well, he screwed me. And so we got a arrest warrant for that dude, and we were going to get him to roll on the other dudes. So the day before the arrest warrant served, shot in the neck, dead. You're like, oh, okay. That's what's up.
So how long did you get the hell out of Panama after this story?
The hell out of there,
okay,
dude.
So what's the lesson in all that story? Because
don't go to the third world. If like when all your friends tell you like don't go down there, it's dangerous, and you're like no, but I googled it and it's like fine. Good. And then you're like, oh wait, it's not fine. It's all fun and games till it's not.
This stemmed from the question when I said, where did you put your money pre-crypto? And you said, listen, I don't want to talk about money. I don't want to talk about that.
How much.
It's all
and you said, I don't want
sucky.
people to know what's going on.
Well, this is like all bad. Like if it's not. When you're trying to be like Mr. Badass, own the world kind of stuff, like talking about getting wrecked and like, you know, having it go wrong, it's not high value. You know what I mean? You're not demonstrating higher value talking about how you got annihilated somewhere, right?
But you know how they say show, don't tell. So you don't want to tell, but you're certainly showing it, bro.
Well, it's
like when you're saying I've got a $4 billion diamond, I've got all these cars. Like people aren't stupid. They're like, all right, this guy's got money.
Yeah.
Like so, whether you said you were worth 10 million or 10 billion, people are like, this guy's got money.
Yeah. The thing is like money's a force multiplier. So it's just like violence. You can use violence to make the world a better place, or you can use it to make the world a worse place. And money is similar. You know, what are you doing with your money? Like for instance, I'll give an example. Buying all those exotic like luxury watches, I'm actually enslaving a Swiss person to stare at a microscope for a year. That's actually sucks, right? Like his life sucks, his back hurts. I have something that tells time poorly. My phone murders it as far as actually telling time goes.
And nobody buys a watch to tell you what time it is.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's just, you know.
Right. So, you know, it's unfortunate that I am forced to enslave old Swiss people in order to flex so people like me more. I wish there was a better way.
Why do you look at it as like enslaving Swiss people? They're getting that's how they make their money. That's how they provide income.
Yeah,
that's it's a different way of looking at it. I appreciate what you're saying, but that guy's like, yeah, I need a job and this is where I'm going to work.
It's an entrepreneur.
I would rather see him do something else.
But someone has
who
to do
gives a
it.
shit what that guy does though?
I
the
care.
Swiss
I want to make the world better. Like I want,
Okay.
I want the world to work better. I want
Well,
politics
you're a
to work better.
capitalist.
Yeah, but so okay, let's take Steve Jobs, right? When you went back before the iPhone existed and you asked people, what do you want out of your phone? Their answer would be more buttons. And then he's like, wait a second. Actually, I don't care what you want. I'm going to make you want what I think you really should want. And here's a phone with almost no buttons. And that's what worked out to be wildly superior.
Yeah, I remember when they were like, no buttons anymore. Like, what? What's going on here?
Yeah. And so if you really care about the world and you want to make it better, you have to get people to like what is in their own best interest, even if at the beginning they don't want to.
Okay.
And so like I'm looking for systematic ways to improve efficiency, and I'm able to influence people in some ways to do that. Like delaying gratification is highly regarded as the most successful investing strategy.
Of course.
We directly monetize that with Hex. You mint yourself rewards for waiting. And that idea,
Delayed gratification. Pull up the chat.
that idea of do the thing that hurts now but do way better later is all of personal development, all of weightlifting, all of education, even all of relationship. Like you're gonna have to go talk to a girl that doesn't know you. That's gonna suck, and most of the time they're gonna tell you to buzz off. But sometimes it's gonna work, and then you're gonna feel great. So I basically monetize the most important investing concept to ever exist, and it's been the highest performing asset.
And when you say the most important investing, you're saying long-term investing?
Well, you
buy
said
and
it
hold?
earlier. You said it earlier. Time in the market, not timing the market.
Exactly.
But there are exceptions to that. I called the top on Bitcoin on the day.
If you have a crystal ball and
I
you're
have
a
a crystal
predictor,
ball.
then yes, that's the
I
best
have a
thing to
crystal
do.
ball.